I want to share with you my latest thrift store book haul. And this one I'm very excited about. I think this is the best haul that I've had. I'm really excited about it until my next one. So here it is. Watch this. Look at this. I got 20 books for $30. Look at this. Isn't this crazy? It's a little crazy. But, okay, so when I buy books from thrift stores, typically it's like this. It's a beautiful day, and I need to get outside the apartment. So I go for a walk, and then I'm like, why don't I stop in the thrift store? Let's just see what kind of books they have today. And this one in particular, there's a Salvation Army close to me. It's not the other Salvation Army that is like enormous and has like just aisles and aisles of books, mostly garbage books. No, this one often has some decent books. And I went in this one and I was just like, I did not intend to spend $30 on books. Or just to spend $30, right? But got 20 books. And these are like solid books. I'm very happy with this selection. A lot of classics. So what probably happened, someone probably came in and donated a bunch of classic books. All right, so let's get through these books. First, we have Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So the reason I picked up this book, I'm sure many of you are aware of this book, if not the cartoon, right? And a big influence on me is John Lennon. I probably have like 4 books on John Lennon, big Beatles guy. And a good way to find books that you might like is by looking at individuals who you admire or have been influential on you, or creatively you like what they've done, So then you just see what books they've read. And this one comes up. I've seen this on a John Lennon list numerous times. So we got this one, and this was 95 cents. Actually, no, it was 47 cents because that day was tan tags are half off. So this one is Mark Twain, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. This one is definitely a classic. I'm learning a little bit more about Mark Twain. I kind of like Mark Twain's style as an individual, as a person. Fun fact, I played Tom Sawyer in our 8th grade play of Tom Sawyer. So I always have a fondness for Mark Twain. Yeah, this is the second copy. I have another copy of this book too, so that's good. I've been looking for this. This has been on my mind for a while. The Autobiography of Malcolm X. I'm very curious about this. So I'm really excited to have it now in my illustrious library. So we got Malcolm X autobiography. Here's the Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Classic, right? I was always a big fan of. You ever watch Wishbone? It used to be on PBS. A lot of my favorite shows were on PBS. It's a public broadcasting service. Just some good, clean fun, some educational fun. And there was this dog. It was this dog, and they'd be like in contemporary time, but then each episode went back to like a literature, some type of literature. And then so he'd play the main character. The dog would play the main character of the book. So here's the dog in Sherlock Holmes, and no one notices that he's a dog. He's having all these love affairs with the women. It's like, oh, it's so funny. But Sherlock Holmes, To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. Read this freshman year of high school. I don't remember too much about it, other than the main themes, but also the name Atticus. I really liked the name Atticus, and I named. I took lambs to the county fair every year, and I once named one of the lambs Atticus Cornelius Maximus the third. So this is good to have on hand. I got Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. So actually, I got 2 copies of it. So someone must have been an Ayn Rand fan. I actually don't know too much about Ayn Rand. So you see, there's 2 different styles. This is a badass cover. I really like this one. I guess I don't know too much about Ayn Rand other than people are always hating on Ayn Rand, which makes me more curious about Ayn Rand. Isn't that interesting? Like, if you hate something, you should just shut up about it. That way people don't go explore it or seek it out. Yeah, I don't know. Like, now I got 2 copies of Atlas Shrugged. These are thick books. Man, you know how long it must have took to write this? So, now we got Ayn Rand. You know what was interesting? So I'm going through these books on the shelf, and this one, the dedication is to... Okay, maybe it's in the other one. No, this one. To Frank O'Connor, right? And I was like, wait a minute. This book, or not this book, but this book is Frank O'Connor. So it was like, I was looking at this originally, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this cover. It's old, collected short stories. That's kind of cool. I just like the minimal aspect of it. And I put it back on the shelf, and then I saw this like dedication. I'm like, oh, wow, that's so serendipitous. There's all these threads we can pull on. So Frank O'Connor collected stories. So we got 2 copies of Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. We have the Frank O'Connor. So we have those. I'm someone who, I love to explore my curiosity, and I pillage from all sources. You know, I'm not like, oh, here's all the books I can only read. No, I like exploring everything and learning what everybody has to say, because I can take pieces of everything and apply it to my own life. So I do not restrict my reading whatsoever. I do, but there are books that I won't read, and that's like, and if you've watched some of these thrift store videos, you kind of know this, but I don't like newer books. A lot of them are just written for the market. So publishers they exist to make money. You would think, in the truest sense, we want to create, we want to put out great literature into the world so that everybody can learn and share and challenge their perspectives. It's not really the case. So big publishers, what they do is they see what the trends are, and then they have writers send book proposals for those trends because they know that they'll sell, right? So a lot of the books that are published are to just sell. And so it's very rare for a book to stick out. That's why the classics are so good, because throughout time, this is what has been sifted through the sands of eternity. Okay, speaking of classics, we got 2 at the top of these. So Catcher in the Rye. Let's start off with Catcher in the Rye. This is got a bunch of highlights and stuff in it, or underlines. So I always like books like that because it kind of assists in the reading, and you kind of like get into someone else's head at the same time. Catcher in the Rye. So yeah, we did a video on this because we were having a conversation with Dr. Dave. That's his favorite book. He's got 28 copies of Catcher in the Rye. And now I know how, because they keep showing up over and over. I got like 3 copies of Catcher in the Rye right now. I got one right here I bought in New York. We should do a video on books I bought in New York. That's interesting. I find like when I travel, I like to buy books, but it's not good for like luggage, because then all of a sudden your suitcase is a lot heavier than what you started with on the trip. What can I tell you? Great Gatsby, classic, right? When I was in high school, The Great Gatsby was the most influential on me. And number 2, believe it or not, is The The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have a copy somewhere back here. I think I have 2 copies, actually. But you can find, I'm going to say like every thrift store, you can find The Great Gatsby. And I like, the reason I got this one in particular is because it's an older one. It's an older printing. So this one is probably like, what do you think, 80s? Printed in the 80s? It doesn't really say. It says copyright 1925, renewal copyright 1953. Yeah, it doesn't say the printed, but the way the pages are yellowed, and that smell, that's old. That's an old book. So I like having this around. The Inferno by Dante. It's weird. Like 3 or 4 occurrences have happened lately where someone brings up Dante's Inferno. So it's kind of a sign in my head, right? You collect information and you listen. You listen to what things are being said around you. And then all of a sudden you'll come across something that connects to those dots. So now we have a copy of the Inferno. I actually can't tell you what it's about. Why don't we read it together? Okay. Belonging in the immortal company of the works of Homer, Virgil, Milton, and Shakespeare, Dante's poetic masterpiece is a moving human drama, an unforgettable visionary journey through the infinite torment of hell. That's not fun. A supreme expression of the Middle Ages, the glorification of the ways of God, and the magnificent protest against the ways in which men have thwarted the divine plan. Oh, interesting. One of the few literary works that has enjoyed a fame both immediate and enduring. Inferno remains powerful after nearly 7 centuries. Oh, wow. It confronts the most universal values, good and evil, free will, and predestination, while remaining intensely personal and ferociously political, for it was born out of anguish of a man who saw human life blighted by injustice and the corruption of his times. Huh. Yeah, I'll get you going, right? Wow. There we go. Speaking of some other old books, Greek mythology. If you haven't noticed, I like making videos about Giannis and the Bucks. And since he's Greek, I like learning more about Greek themes and Greek philosophy, Greek mythology now. So we have a copy. We can reference this in our videos. Can simultaneously talk about Giannis and Greek mythology. This one is just covered with notes and circles and underlines and stars and asterisks and all sorts of good things. Hamlet, Shakespeare, I hear a lot about it. So I don't know a whole lot of Shakespeare. This might surprise you how little I actually know about literature, even though I have all these books and we're doing videos about books. My reading journey has really accelerated over the last 3 years. I haven't been a lifelong reader. So it's just been like a renaissance of reading in my life. We got The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Something I find is that some girls I've dated really liked Fellowship of the Ring. Which is just interesting to me. Okay, now we have Paris to the Moon. Don't really know what it's about, except the cover looks cool. I've been to Paris, so now I'm more intrigued about Paris. I feel like when you travel, you're now all of a sudden kind of more interested in anything that has to do with that area. Ooh. Afternoon jaunts at the Muséum d'Orsay. That place is so cool. Muséum d'Orsay. It's like an old train station turned into an Impressionist era museum. It's incredible. That's my favorite museum in Paris. The Louvre? I thought the Met was better than the Louvre. Hot take. Memoirs of a Geisha. A Geisha? I hear about this a lot. So I took a flyer on it. I don't know really anything about it, but I've heard of it, right? So there. part historical novel, part fairy tale, part Dickensian romance. This one is The Count of Monte Cristo. It's my favorite book, although I've never read the book, but it's one of my favorite movies. I really like this story. I should read it. So now I do have another copy, but yeah, I love the story of the Count of Monte Cristo. I was in the Pantheon in Paris, and I saw the tomb of Alexandre Dumas. So, and yeah, isn't that wild, right? You see the tomb of the person that wrote this book. It's a great story. It really is a great story. And the movie is one of my favorite movies. I don't watch a lot of movies, so that one has stuck out to me. And but I haven't read the book in its entirety. So this book, 11 Rings by Phil Jackson. Great book. I have it in hard copy, and I saw this on the shelves, and I was like, oh yeah, this is. I saw this early on. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good haul day, and kind of summarizes his coaching experience and philosophies through exploring everything from humanistic psychology to Native American philosophy to Zen meditation. Jackson developed a new approach to leadership based on freedom, authenticity, and selfless teamwork that turned the hyper-competitive sports world on its head. What I don't like, though, these penguin books with their orange spines. As someone who organizes their books by colors, I hate these penguin books. I don't want these. I understand they do it for like marketing and branding and stuff, but it is so annoying, and I will purposely not buy books because of these stupid orange spines. So this won't exactly be on my shelf anytime soon. Unfortunately, it's like you're judging the quality of the book by its spine. Shame on Penguin. This one is John Muir, Our National Parks. John Muir, National Parks. What a great American idea. It's fantastic. And as I love the national parks. I try to get to one every year, although since COVID I haven't done that. But what I don't like, though, I don't like the cover and the designs. It kind of reminds me of books that are often those like gifty type books where someone has like a white elephant or like an office party and they need something cheap but kind of fun to give somebody. That's what the cover and the design reminds me of. It's too kitschy. I'm a man of substance, and so is John Muir, and I think it cheapens the what's inside here. I think it'd be a lot cooler if it had just like a not this. But for what was this? $195. I was like, I'll get it. You got me. Okay. Speaking of another great American, Benjamin Franklin. I'm reading/listening to the audiobook, the Walter Isaacson biography of Ben Franklin. I don't know if you can see it, but I have it right here. Pretty remarkable individual, and I find myself kind of viewing the world kind of similar to Ben Franklin a little bit. I don't know. You're just trying to be your best of the world, right? So he was a really important person in American history. So this is a smaller copy, so maybe I'll be able to read that a little quicker. But yeah, so that is the book haul. Wow, what a haul, right? Pretty long for a lot of books, but definitely it's like a shot in the arm to the library that we're building. So we got these classics now that are in here, and I'm always looking out for classics. It's so worthwhile. It's so gratifying, right? So while I didn't intend to spend $30 that day and on books, that's what happened. You know, it's an addiction now. And there are much more expensive addictions than used books. But that was the haul. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll, of course, have more videos like this.